It's a mystery as old as this forest. Cries in the night from a source unknown.
We've been able to compare this sound with the obvious animals that it might be.
Images captured on film.
He came out and looked me right in the eye from behind that bush.
Footprints and fingerprints unknown to scientists.
This is unlike anything I've ever examined before.
All this evidence points to a legend known as Sasquatch. Or does it?
We'll generate a DNA sequence that will identify the source of the hair somewhere on the tree of life.
Can these clues lead scientists to the definitive discovery of a new species?
This unusual combination of characteristics is going to give some important insights.
And a complete examination of possibly the most compelling piece of evidence. A two-third impression of what many people think is the body of a Sasquatch.
So this is one of the first times we may have proof of a North American ape.
And we will use the latest technology to determine the size, speed, and stride of a filmed subject to determine if it is within the human range.
And maybe get some answers on this project.
Or can this same evidence prove it is all a hoax?
That's when my jaw dropped, and I remember just saying, "That's not a man."
For the first time, real scientists, professionals, and forensic experts will put the Sasquatch mystery under the microscope in Legend Meets Science. With no Sasquatch body to examine, science must look to other clues and evidence to prove or debunk the Sasquatch legend. We do know that a huge upright primate species did exist in the past, and it fit the descriptions of modern-day Sasquatches. Meet Gigantopithecus blacki, an ape so large it is hard to fathom that it once walked the earth alongside early man.
We know from the fossil evidence that Gigantopithecus lived side by side with Homo erectus. We don't know whether Homo erectus hunted Gigantopithecus or hid from the giant ape. Here is a cast of the largest jaw of Gigantopithecus with the ascending rami restored. People are always amazed to think that an ape this large ever lived.
While scientists know of almost 2 million species of animals on Earth, some suspect there may be as many as 10 million they don't know about. One possible new species, a North American ape, may be familiar to many, but only as a popular legend. The creatures known to Native Americans as Sasquatches, wild men, known as Yeti, or Bigfoot. And with over 400 sightings each year and hundreds of footprint finds, this mystery continues to provide us with clues about a possible uncatalogued animal. Dr. George Schaller is considered one of the world's foremost experts on non-human primates. His pioneering studies of wild great ape populations led the way for field scientists such as Diane Fossey and Jane Goodall. He knows the Sasquatch mystery all too well.
Finding another species that's more closely related than any other to human beings would have a tremendous impact on humanity. Now, about once a year, a new primate has been discovered. We have gorillas, 2 species of chimps, and orangutan. Those are the closest living relatives. Well, Sasquatch, if it exists, might be even closer than them. There has been, over the years, so much circumstantial evidence. To me, I still feel that there's something there that is worth pursuing. And the more you can analyze it, the better. If the analyses show that there's something really unique about this material, and we can eliminate the myth one way or another, then it will open up whole new vistas for humanity.
One type of evidence in abundance is footprints. Casts of alleged Sasquatch footprints have been made from impressions all over the world. These prints provide experts with a well-known clue: dermal ridges, better known as fingerprints. One of the best fingerprint experts in America is crime scene investigator Jimmy Chilcutt. He will examine casts of footprints for dermal ridge evidence to determine whether they were faked or whether they were caused by a known or unknown species.
My testimony puts people in jail, so I have to be very, very careful and very professional when I match a latent fingerprint to an ink print.
Chilcutt has fingerprinted every known great ape species. He'll use his unique skill and his catalog of primate material to examine and compare the best Sasquatch footprint casts available.
As a latent fingerprint examiner, I'm one of the few who is an expert in primate fingerprints, trying to determine gender and race through fingerprints, because primates don't interbreed like humans do, and try to find the key that would unlock the secrets of human prints. I will apply the same science to the Sasquatch castings as I do to a latent fingerprint lifted from a crime scene. My study group consisted of over 100 alleged Sasquatch castings. And some of these castings were cast as much as 20 years apart. And once I established the texture and the pattern flow of this animal, I was able to look at the other castings and know what I was looking at.
At the very least, Chilcutt should be able to tell us whether the prints are from a real animal or a clever forgery.
If this animal is walking through the wilderness, he's bound to come across rocks and rough terrain, which will cut the bottom of his foot. As the wound heals, the ridges curl inward toward the scar. So to authenticate any scar on these castings, I will be looking for that same characteristic. In human footprints, the ridges run horizontally across the width of the foot. On primates, the ridges run diagonally. On this casting, the ridges run vertically down the side of the foot. The ridges on this cast are about twice the thickness of a human print. Now, these casts were cast 20 years apart and hundreds of miles apart, yet they have the same ridge texture and ridge flow pattern.
If casts of footprints are telling, then the cast of an entire lower torso would surely be groundbreaking. In September of 2000, an expedition was conducted in a remote corner of the Pacific Northwest by the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization.
And we used some techniques to try and lure in a Sasquatch.
A team of trackers, scientists, and other experts, including investigator Richard Noel. They discovered a strange imprint and cast of what may be the most compelling physical evidence to date.
At the time, we had no idea the magnitude of what we had found.
I think the most distinctive feature of this whole thing for me is right here, which looks to be possibly a heel imprint.
This extraordinary piece of evidence shows impressions from the body of a large animal and may also contain hair samples. The question for science? Were these unusual large impressions created by a known or unknown species? Richard Noel and the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization wanted answers, so they sought the opinions of some prominent anthropologists.
First and foremost, we need to get very accurate proportions and